So if you've watched the other segments, you've learned how to add specific types of content to a page. In this section, we're going to learn how to create a page and add all types of content to a page. So we'll start out by making sure we're in the Pages section, and we'll go to Create a Page. And just for demonstration purposes, we'll call this our Adding Content page. I'm going to change this URL, and I'm going to make it just be content. So I could choose to leave this at the top level or under a parent page. I'm going to leave it at the top level. I'm going to let it show in the navigation, and I'm going to use my Sitefinity demo default template. I'm taking my title for search engines and I'm pasting it into my descriptions and keywords for now. Before you publish a website, make sure that these two sections are fleshed out with things that make sense to the specific page. This will help with search options, it will help with search engine optimization, and it will make your site a better, more fleshed out website. Now let's go ahead and click Create and go Add Content. So here we're starting out with our blank Sitefinity demo default template. If I wanted to change to a different template at this point, I can. I can simply go up to Layout, and towards the bottom of this section, you'll see Select Another Template. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's select another template, and let's choose the About and Contact template. I'm going to select Done. In an earlier video, we learned how to add content to templates. So at that point, we added this Contact Us button at the template level. Now I'm going to show you how to divide your page up in different sections. We do that by using the Layout panel. So again, I click on Layout. So if you see here, we're provided with different layout options straight out of the box. So we can drag something that is 100%, which means it takes up the entire width of the existing layout area that you are choosing. Or we can choose something that is already segmented into either 2 columns or 3 columns or 4 or 5 columns. Now let's go ahead and choose a 3 column and put it at the top of our page. So now I have 3 columns at the very top with no padding on the outside of that because it is in our featured content section. Now below these 2 sections here, I want to add another 2 column area. And I would like for it to be a 50-50. I'm going to simply drag it to where it comes into this yellow area directly below those 2 sections and drop it there. Our original About Us template actually has these 3 columns in the base content area already. So now we have all of these different regions where we can add content. So let's go back to the content section and let's choose to add a few images up here at the top. So we're going to choose the image widget, and I'm going to drag it into these 3 different areas. Now we'll go into each one and click Edit and add an image. Okay, you'll notice there's a slight variation in the size right here, and that is due to the layout. So let's go back up to Layout, and we'll hit Edit. You'll see these columns are divided up by percentage. So here we have 33, 34, and 33. So now I'm simply going to change the spacing up a little bit to even this out. So I figured out that by removing the other spacing options and just adding 5 pixels on the right and 5 pixels on the left of column number 2, it gives me a little bit of a smaller space in between the images, and it makes them all the same size. So now that I've made these changes, I'll click Done, and I'm going to go ahead and publish my changes so we can see what we've added. Let's click on View for the Adding Content page, and you'll see these images are up here at the top with no padding around the outside edge. So this time let's go back to the page and add some more content. Now let's drag some content into the middle body. We're going to start with a content block for the title, and then we're going to add some text and maybe an image. So let's click on this title content block, and I'm going to call this title, and subtitle. So now we're going to format this. So let's select all the text and go up to Format and make this a H1. And now let's click Add Subtitle, and let's make that a subtitle. And you'll see it automatically makes it a little bit smaller and it tucks it beneath the title. So let's hit Save. And I actually want to add a horizontal rule underneath this. So we'll go to All Tools and open up our other options and insert HTML, and then we'll insert a horizontal rule. It's the first option. So we're going to click Save, and you'll see our title and subtitle comes up on the page. So now let's add a little bit of text by pasting in some lorem ipsum. So at this point, I would like for an image to show up here. So I'm going to put my cursor there, and then I'm going to go up to the top bar and click Insert Image. So I'm going to drag the image from my desktop into our image area, and you'll see it uploads the image. Now I do not want to keep this name. I want to rename this to something that makes sense. So this would be nutritional shopping. So I can copy my title and paste it into my alternative text area, and I need to select a library in which to put this image in. So I'm going to select my default library and click Done Selecting and simply upload the image. So now you'll see my image is showing up here. It gives me the opportunity to edit the properties and to even change the image. I can also choose to display this image at a different size. I want to go ahead and display this as a 200 by 200 thumbnail. So I'm going to click Insert into Image. So at this point I want to hit Save so it catches my changes. And now I can go back in and I can click on this image and drag it where I need it. So you'll see it's not using word wrap at this time. So let's click on it and we'll go back up to our formatting options, and we're going to add the photo left class. So this will give it padding around it, a nice little border, and it'll align the photo on the left and the text on the right. Okay. At this point, I could also move this photo around anywhere else. So I'm going to hit Save, and you'll see our nice layout with our text and our photo. Now I have two other regions down here, and at this point I want to add some news and one of my lists. So I'm going to drag in those two widgets, and if you see, it automatically populates the news with our news title, date, and summary. And the list, it's waiting for you to select which list to display. So we'll do the list first. And we'll select our services and hit Done Selecting as the list to display. And then we'll go and filter by categories. And we want to make sure that we're in our demo website categories now. Your website will have a categories folder. You will have to create this to keep all your categories in one place. So now I'll choose women's healthcare. And I'll choose Done Selecting. And then the list settings, we'll just put last published for these purposes. For our list items, we want to select the expanded list so it shows all of our options. And then we're going to hit Save. And you'll see our services list comes up. So now let's go edit the news. I simply want to show the news for our site, and I want to show about 5 news items, and we won't use paging. And I want to sort by the last published on top, and I want to make this news title and date only. Now I need to make sure that I hit my single item settings here. We need to select an existing page, which we've already created in the news segment. There are several different modules that need a specific page created for a single article. So I'm going to click Select, and I'm going to go under News and choose my news article page. Now I'm going to click Save, and you'll see it goes down to only news title and date, and the images is there by default. So if you want to remove images from here, let me show you how to do that real quick. Now let's click Edit. And I'm going to go to the List Settings and More Options down here at the bottom. Now under CSS class, I'm going to do IMG hide. I'm going to click Save. Now you'll see our images went away. So at this time we only have 3 news items in our newsroom. Once I get 5, what'll start happening is those will filter through and we'll have the latest published on top. I want to add a title to my news, so I'm going to grab a content block and I'm going to create content. I'm going to do news. I want to make this an H3 heading, and I want to also hyperlink it to a page from this website, which is my news page. And I'm going to click Insert Link and save. I'm going to try to make it match my services typography. So let's go back to this and hit Edit. Let's change this to Heading 1. Let's add the horizontal rule underneath it as well. So hit Save, and now we have a little bit of consistency going. Now this is blue because it is a hyperlink. So let's publish. Let's go refresh our web page and see what it looks like. So now you'll see we have basic static text and a static image. We have an image that is a link. We have title and subtitle. We have images that are just basic decoration on the page. We have a list, and we have news on this page. Most of the content modules work the same, to where if you want to add them to the page, you simply drag them onto the page, and then you click Edit and you select your different options within that widget. I want to choose and make an image gallery here at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to grab this image gallery. I'm going to drag it directly above the section that's divided into 3. And let's click Edit. I'm going to choose from a selected library only. Now let me select, and I'm going to choose this news slider and hit Done Selecting. Now the only images that will show up in this gallery are in this news slider library. So let's go to List Settings, and I would like to use a limit, and let's use 5 as our limit. And no paging. If you want to use paging in any of these, you would select Use Paging and then add a limit. Now we'll leave our sort by last published, and we want our thumbnail size to be the original size. And our list template is going to be our slide carousel. I'm going to click Save. And you'll see we get our carousel here, and it's active even in the back end. So, well, for this situation, let's try something different. Let's click Edit. Let's make this list setting template be an overlay gallery. Hit Save. So you notice it makes the images very small, but let's publish this and see what it does in the web page. So see here at the bottom, if you click on this image, it actually comes up in a separate modal box, and you're able to click through to the other ones and simply click out to go back. There are several different image gallery layouts. Be sure to check out the Web Resources website in the Sitefinity section. Earlier we created this group with these child pages. So now let's go in here and let's add a little bit of content to child 1. We've already added an image and a little bit of text. So let's do the same to child 2 and 3 with different types of content on the inside to make them match. So let's go back to Pages and go to child 2. In child 2, I'm going to drag my news in here. So I'm going to leave this in this exact format because I want my summary, my news title, and my date to show up. I'm going to add a title to this page, and we're going to do the same thing we did earlier and say Demo Site News. I'm going to format that to be an H1 tag, and I'm going to also give it the horizontal rule. Hit Save. Notice I'm keeping my titles kind of consistent throughout the website. This will help with design and continuity. Now the next thing we can do is add an image to the top to make layout match the child 1 page. I'll click Save, and we'll go ahead and publish this page. And let's say we want child 3 to actually link out to a different website or maybe a specific document. I'm going to go to Actions and Titles and Properties, and I'm going to make that change at this level. So let's use this page to redirect to another page. And we're going to set it to a specific web address. We're going to hit done. So now I want to save changes. Okay, so let's go back to our website and refresh it. Now when I click on Group Sample 1, it's going to take me to the first page that's listed below it, which is the Child 1 page. So now I have a little bit of content, an image. This page could go on. And when I click on Child 2, it'll flip me over to Child 2, and I'll keep my navigation in the same spot because I did the same thing above it. Now I'll have my news. And now if I click on Child 3, it will actually take me away from this site into the other site that I linked to. So let's create another page, and we're going to work a little bit in the HTML view. So create page. We're going to call this our HTML page. I want this to show navigation. Everything else is fine. And we'll go ahead and click create and go to content. I can add a content block in here, and I can add any kind of HTML that I have. So I'm going to click create content, and I'm going to paste in an iframe that I have for a map. Now what I'll do first is click on HTML, and you notice my options go away. So I will paste in my iframe. Now to make this iframe responsive, your width needs to be set to 100%. The height can be whatever you choose it to be. In my case, I want it to be about 300 pixels. So I can hit save, and now I will see my map show up here, and it even works in the back end. All of this information is coming straight in from Google. If I want to add more content to this, I'm going to choose another content block to add it to. I don't want to disrupt my iframe in any way, so I'm going to grab another content block up here, and I'm going to create a title for this. I want to say Lake City Clinics. I'm going to, again, give that the H1 heading, and let's say I want to make this one blue. And now I want to add in my horizontal rule and hit save. I could then add in a content block and add more content here if I would like. Hit save. So let's say I like this, but it's a little plain and I want to change it up a little bit. So now let's go click on layout, and I want to make this to where the map takes up most of the space, but maybe I only have about a third of the area be my content. So I'm going to drag this directly below my title and drop it in. So I'm going to click content. And now you'll see I have these two regions here where I can drag widgets. So I'm simply going to drag my content blocks into this area, and I'm going to drag my content block for the map into this area. And if I wanted to edit my map so it takes up more space, I could simply click on edit and go into HTML view, and maybe let's change this to be about 800 pixels high. Okay, so let me publish this, and let's see what it looks like on the page. We're going to refresh this page, and you'll notice my page comes up in my navigation because I told it to show up in the nav. And I'm going to click HTML page, and you'll see my map comes up with my text next to it and my title. Your options in HTML view are really unlimited. You can go in, you can add or change a class. You can separate things using the content grid layout, using paragraph tags. You can change anything you could typically change using something like Dreamweaver. So please explore the HTML view and get comfortable with it.